Hello there survivors, and welcome back to another video on ARK Survival Ascended. Today we're looking at some of the best base locations on the center if you want to build a base in a cool place. And I've tried to collect as many different types of locations as I possibly could. But of course, if you know some other cool places that I maybe should check out for some of my future builds, feel free to leave them down in the comments below as well. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the other videos. And if you want to show even more support, you can always consider becoming a YouTube member. And I'm gonna kick it off with some ruins, because I really enjoy rebuilding ruins, and the center actually offers a lot of different ruins. They're all built into cliffs, which isn't as exciting if you really want to give it your own spin, but it does mean you can really easily turn these into pretty good bases, and you have quite a lot of space, and the arches on these ruins look amazing. And the good news is there's a lot of them out there, so the chances are pretty high that you can find one where you can still build and make your own base. I'll show you a couple of different ruins. This one right here is pretty close to where you can spawn and get started, right here on the coast. But there's pretty much ruins all across this island right here. There's so many of them, and really easily with like a gate and some foundations, you can turn these into pretty decent bases. And there are so many different ones of these. Like right here, we got another one, which is located on this place, and they have a lot of these cool staircases as well that lead usually to like bigger platforms or to other ruins, which you could of course use to extend your base to. But yeah, there's a lot of them right here. There's another one which is in a pretty cool spot. Just place a gate at both sides and you have a pretty nice base again, and some really cool views. This one is a little bit higher up as well, so you have some good spots, great locations, and just yeah, quite easy to make a base. These ones along the main river are also pretty nice. I've got actually videos on how to rebuild these to a base on the channel already. So you have got one down here. Let me show you the coordinates right around here. So you got one right down here, which is easy to get rebuilt. I've got a video on that. Got a video on this one. This one is quite big, a lot of room. We're using this as like a breeding room because there's so much space. Then back here there's another ruin right here, and there's actually this little valley in between that, with a couple of gates in the right places, you can actually close off this valley and connect the ruins as a proper big base. And if we just follow the river, we'll see more ruins right here as well. So just basically, if you follow this river, there's a lot of places. This room right here, actually I like, because on top of the platform, you can actually build a lot as well. So you could easily extend this base if you need more space. If you follow the river, you also have this big ruin, which has a ton of space on the inside, which is located almost on the middle of the map. So pretty cool and central location with a ton of space to build into a base with a lot of these nice little corridors everywhere. And then right across from here is another really pretty ruin, because it has a waterfall running through it right around here. And yeah, this one is really nice just because of the river going underneath. You also have a pretty decent size ruin right here that you could turn really easily into a base. And then you have the waterfall as your backyard as well. Then a little higher up than the other ones, you've got one right here, which is pretty nice as well. You got an entrance right there, and again you got this pathway going up to these platforms where you could easily extend your base to, or in this case, just use it to get these resources very easily. And then, I mean, there's more than this. I'm not going to show them all, but there's another one here which is pretty big. If you go inside, just like this circle of ruins with a sky entrance as well, and you can easily turn this into a base, which is located right here. So yeah, there's a ton of ruins on this map, and you can really easily turn them into pretty cool bases. A very starter friendly base you can find on the Blue Orb Island. It's a very nice island with relative safe spawns. Some sides are a little bit more dangerous than others, but you got this cool looking bay there as well that you can definitely use for your starter base. It's quite friendly there, and it's also just a very nice looking location. The biggest downside to this place that it's right on the edge of the map, so long term probably not great because you're quite far away from everything, but it is quite relaxing here and easy to build, and you've got some pretty nice views. Unfortunately, that's all of the fake views outside of the map, so it's not actually real, but it is a pretty nice place. So yeah, we're right here at this little bay on Blue Orb Island, obviously located near the Blue Orb, but as you can see, it's right on the edge of the world, which means everything is pretty far, but this is pretty nice if you just want a nice starter base, relaxing ARK beach start. You know, it's pretty typical, and this is probably one of the better places to do so. Although if you want to be a little bit more unique, you could also go over to the island right here next to it, which also has some pretty nice beaches, including these spots up here with this nice little, like, another little bay that goes into the island, which is also pretty nice and maybe a little bit more unique than the other one, located right here on the map. Once again, a completely different location is this land bridge between the Redwoods and the snowy area and the mountain on the other side, and of course above one of the giant waterfalls here on the center. It's a pretty cool and unique location, and it actually has a pretty decent spot to build on. It's located right here on the map, connecting these two land masses above the waterfall. So for one, you have this amazing view of the giant waterfall on the center, which of course is the unique feature of this map. And then you have this whole land bridge to build on, but most especially this little platform, which, I mean, it's not completely flat, but you could probably get a decent base on here, especially here on this edge, which already offers quite a bit of space where you can easily build a decently sized base on, and you'll have the amazing views of the Redwoods, including the boss arena up there and the waterfall, and you're close to the snowy mountain, which I believe is the mountain where you can find the snow caves, the ice caves. So yeah, pretty good spot, and I mean, you could make it as big as you want. Of course, you could climb the whole land bridge for all I care. Like, there's a lot of space here and a pretty decent spot to get you started. Of course, I can't be talking about base spots on the center without mentioning the floating island on the middle of the map. It's a very unique piece, and of course just a very cool place to live. And even though it's not exactly the center of the map, it does feel that way because you're pretty close, well, relatively close to everything around you, and it's just a nice central point and easy to find your way back to. The biggest downside being you'll need to fly there, of course. There we go. There's actually a bunch of cool spaces here on the island that is floating. You could build next to one of these waterfalls, which is just great views, of course. I think this one right here is actually where they had the little town built in the trailer for the center, which is a pretty good spot. There is a lot of danger around here, so you will need to make sure you protect your base accordingly. But of course, you can also build higher up on the island on the top layer, which is actually also where I plan on building a castle. You got a lot of flat ground here, big hole here in the middle to access the caves that are in the floating island, and also you have a pretty nice spot right here on top of the waterfall, or you can go for a cave base right below and behind the waterfall. There's plenty of options here on the floating island. You can't really go wrong. You'll have amazing views of the entire world around you, and yeah, the biggest downside definitely is that there is a lot of potential danger here. There's like Karchas spawning here, there's T-Rexes, there's a lot of dangerous stuff here, but if you can manage that, it is a very pretty spot to build at. And of course, the floating island is located around here, but it's pretty hard to miss. Then the next one is maybe something you wouldn't quite expect, but I think there's actually a lot of cool places on the Volcano Island as well. This might be one of the most difficult places to live, of course, because a lot of high-level dangerous tames spawn here, of course, like Gigas, Karchas, T-Rexes, the new Pyromane. So there's a lot of danger, but there's a few cool spots here as well that you could build your base at. Like these places where they stick out, these cliff sides, I really like the look of them, and I think they make for pretty cool bases. This one right here is maybe not the best one. It's located right here on the map, a little bit on the edge of the world. But yeah, you got a few of these places that like stick out or have like platforms. Some of them better than others. The one that I personally really like is this one right here, which I and my tribe have named the Pyro's Jaw because of all the pyromanes spawning here. But yeah, it's sticking out right here. It's a pretty good spot on the island, pretty central on Volcano Island. And the best thing is you look out over the rest of the map as well. It's located right here on the world, and I've actually built a little outpost here as well, and it's pretty safe. Nothing really seems to spawn at the edge of this platform, and everything that spawns close to this platform so far at least has been pretty chill, like the raptors or scorpions or maybe a carno, but nothing much worse spawns close to the base, which is quite nice. Means that you can definitely live here and have a pretty epic view. You can actually get up here just by walking. Oh, I guess a spiromane does spawn here. But yeah, well, once you start building here, of course, you'll block some of it. But yeah, you can actually get up here. There is a path all the way up to the mountain here, so you can just go here. Of course, your life will be a lot easier if you have a flyer, but you'll probably need at least some decent stuff because, of course, it is a quite dangerous area. With the center, there's a very unique location that you can't really leave out on a list like this, and that is the underground. There's a lot of cool cave systems on the center, but probably the coolest where you would want to build a base is the underground, with the fake sun giving you plenty of light, making it quite an enjoyable space, and as far as I know, a pretty safe space to live at. The only downside I would really say is that it's quite annoying getting up and down here every time, so without a teleporter you will have to spend some decent time getting back and forth from your base, but you'll be relatively safe once you get inside. It's located right here on the map, but more importantly, you will need to find some of the entrances. Now, I'm definitely not the best expert on this. I know there's one way to get in through one of the artifact caves, and there's another way out, which I think you need like grapples for, and there might be even ones where you need to swim in. So yeah, definitely not the easiest place to get into, but this island, for example, would be a pretty nice spot to build at. You have definitely one of the more unique locations you can find, and it will be pretty chill. And the good thing is you'll always have the sun shining here, so yeah, that is quite nice, I suppose. But personally, I love the look and the location. I wouldn't really build here just because after this we'll be going to Aberration. We live underground anyway, so why would you not just go outside and actually see the sun and be in a place that is a little bit easier to reach. Another really cool place is actually close to the land bridge, but then if you go to the side, you have this whole area that is like half under the cliff. It's a pretty cool area. It's like, is it a cave? Is it not? It's a pretty cool spot to build. It's also where like the ice palace ruins are, where you can find an artifact, but it's a pretty cool area with these spruce trees, and I would actually say pretty nice to build. The only downside being it's very much on the edge of the world. But if you do want to build here, I'd probably build around somewhere here, because you got a pretty nice and flat spot right here with plenty of room. You'll have a decent view of the outside world and some nice waterfalls here, and the view of like the main waterfall river here with the ice palace ruins right at the back as well. So yeah, there is definitely some cool spots down here if you want to go for a little bit more of a unique vibe. But again, it also feels like you're underground a lot, which may be not the best choice before we go to Aberration afterwards. But it is a unique place, so definitely worth considering. Another place that I really like the look of is this one. There's like a river coming down from the snowy area, which ends in a big lake with the icebergs in it right next to the green orb. And I think that's actually a pretty nice place here where you could build a base. Some awesome views of the surrounding area. Right here along the river is where I would build, probably on one of these spots. They are relatively flat, and you'll have this amazing view to look forward to. It is relatively dangerous in this area, so you'll need some protection, but I'm sure you can manage. And I mean, I just really love the look of this river. You've got this lake with the icebergs, with the penguins as well, so good resources. And of course, an obelisk nearby, which is always convenient. But yeah, I just really love the look of this spot. This is probably where I would build this amazing view right here. But you could even continue alongside all of these layers, of course, going up to the river. There's actually also a pretty good place right here if you don't want to build alongside the river, but just want to have like the view of the river. Although I would say building further down does give you some nicer views. It's located right next to the green up, right over here. And yeah, I would say a pretty nice spot to build at. And if you're brave enough and you want to build something in the snow, which I can definitely see happening, there's actually a pretty cool spot up here, which has a big plateau where you could definitely make some cool big builds if you're up for the call, of course. It's located right here on the map, also pretty close to the green obelisk. And personally, I would probably build either here. This is pretty flat ground, but there's another platform right up here, which might be even better. And I mean, it's not the easiest area, of course, to build at, but you do have some pretty nice flat spots where you could build some big bases. And you have some pretty nice views because you're so high up as well, including the amazing view of the floating island. Now, one of the most signature locations, of course, on the center is the Skull Island, and it looks pretty good in this version on ASA. Not that I really know what it looked like before because I never played, but it looks pretty cool, and I think you can definitely turn it into a cool base location. It would have been even better if they actually connected the ruins that are in the ice to like a cave or some kind of stairway going down to the other sides of the skull, because then it would actually be amazing to build here. So we're right here at the skull. Well, it's pretty hard to miss, of course, but these are the coordinates. And yeah, you have some pretty cool things here, like these platforms in the ice. This is what I meant. If these were connected to each other with like a cave system with these stairs in there, and then connecting the two eyes together, maybe going like have a little opening here at the nose before eventually coming all the way down to here in the mouth, that would have made this location epic. But I still think with a little bit of determination and hard work, you can build a pretty cool cliff base here. So you could start on some of these platforms, maybe connecting them together. There's a bunch of stuff here at the back that you could probably use, as well as these little ledges, of course, to build out from. But most importantly, there is actually some decent space here on the top of the skull where you could definitely build a nice, unique base location. Pretty hard to get to, of course. You probably need a flyer for ease, but yeah, it is a pretty cool and unique build location. And yeah, you're not really gonna get a better chance to build a cool pirate base. Now, there's many good spots here on the center, of course, for an ocean base. Personally, I would try to look for a location where you have a little bit of less deep ground, so you can use that for your foundations and build up from there. This is where I've built. You have the nice view here of the waterfall in the Redwoods, and it's a pretty nice location located around these coordinates. And you can see there's like a shallower part where you can start building your base at, and then maybe extend it just above the edge before the ocean gets really, really deep. Of course, the location itself isn't really that special. That's why I've chosen one with a decent view. You can even, if the clouds are right, see the boss fight arena. So yeah, pretty good spot, and you're right here at the ocean where everything seems to happen. This is close to where I've seen most of the Shastosauruses spawn, close to some of the artifacts that you need to find in the water, and just a bunch of useful ocean creatures around here as well. Of course, we can't really forget about the Redwoods themselves. There's some pretty cool base locations here. A lot of locations with waterfalls, and actually surprising amount of cool cliffs where you could build your bases as well. And not forgetting, you could go for a tree platform and build a cool tree base pretty much anywhere. Just pick your favorite spot with the nicest view. Some of the places that I really like are these places between the cliffs. This especially, you got cool waterfalls coming down, and you've got some decent area here to build your base at. This one is located right here on these coordinates, but there's actually another one pretty close. This one is another one that has a pretty cool view. You've got some waterfalls coming down, and this is actually one that you could probably close off quite easily under this land bridge, and then have another entrance right there, and you're pretty safe. Of course, stuff could drop down from the cliffs, so you probably want to have a little bit of plant species around to keep your base safe, but it is a pretty cool place. You got these platforms where you can build on, and these nice waterfall views, including the impressive views of the Redwoods itself, of course. And this one is located right here on the map. And there we go. These are some of the best base locations, in my opinion, on the center. But of course, as I told you before, if you know any other good spots, please let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you around in the next one. Goodbye.